Biggie, 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 can't you see? Sometimes your words just hypnotize me. Hello, and welcome to the next episode of Matt and Todd Go to the Movies, the podcast where Matt and Todd go see a movie at our local Regal Cinema Theater, and then we talk about it from Matt's Xterra in the parking lot right after the movie. I am Todd Domer.
And I'm Matt Malloy, and yes, welcome to another episode. We're in theaters today with our masks on, and we are in the Xterra with our masks on, recording this podcast in the safest way possible in pandemic times.
Mm-hmm.
So, tonight, this evening, we saw not a first run film, but a film in theaters that came out in 2018. This film is called RBG, and it is a documentary about the life of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who just passed away recently. So it's a timely viewing of this documentary. I did enjoy, Todd, your notorious B.I.G. intro.
Yep.
Of course, Ruth Bader Ginsburg has the nickname of Notorious RBG, if you haven't heard that before. It's kind of an internet meme type thing.
Yes. Internet sensation.
True, yes.
As well.
So yeah, we saw this movie. It's a little different in that there's no actors in this movie. It's a documentary. But Ruth Bader Ginsburg is featured prominently and throughout the movie, giving her thoughts about her life. What's it about? Well, it basically takes you through her life from when she was in, even before college age, when she was growing up, and through college age, and through meeting her husband and going to law school, and kind of all the challenges she faced as a woman along the way. And then from there, her becoming a law professor, and then eventually becoming a judge under Jimmy Carter.
Mm-hmm.
So she was a judge early 80s. And then her confirmation to the Supreme Court, which happened under Bill Clinton's time, 1993, and then kind of the state of things in the Supreme Court from that time all the way up until, I guess, 2018.
Yeah.
It's basically when the movie stops its recording. And obviously, if it went through today, it would talk about her life and death. But that wasn't part of the movie. So I think this may be our first documentary, Todd.
Yeah, I think so.
What did you think?
Well, it's definitely hard to review this movie in the same kind of aspects that we review our other movies, because it's not, like you said, it's not about acting, it's not about cinematography, it's not about all the stuff that we typically talk about. It's kind of just, I mean, there's some like style and flair to it at times, but it's kind of straightforward, honestly. It's like they bounce back in time a little bit, but you're kind of just taking on this journey of learning more about RBG and where she came from, the different milestones in her life, and her marriage to Marty, and Marty, right?
Marty, yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think this is a good informational thing to have. Like, I think I'm trying to choose my words carefully here, because I don't want to insult or upset anyone, but I think this is an important thing to watch no matter where you are landing on the, political spectrum, or how you feel about RBG, because you're just kind of given facts. You're not too much of this is narrative, like as far as like we think she did this or she thought this way, or like it's all pretty much like You're just shown stuff that actually happened. And I think it's easy for pretty far right-wing people to say they hate her or that she was a monster or anything like that because of her views on abortion and the contraceptive stuff. And I don't agree with her on those two things personally, but there's no denying that she was an incredibly important person who did incredibly important things for women's rights. Like, it's just kind of undeniable that she really, with a couple other people who they highlight in the film, pioneered this idea of gender equality under the law, which didn't really exist until these people, predominantly her, started to fight it. So I think, and also if you're just the blind RBG supporter, like, and you don't know much, but it's like, you know, it's kind of like the liberal, again, I'm not trying to insult the liberal cool thing, I want to say. I don't know. I'm not trying to get hung up on that kind of stuff. But I think it's important for anyone to see this movie. I'll just say that, for this documentary. Why not get some facts? Why not see all these important things? And then you have an educated, like, idea to make your judgment on. Instead of just, like, people like Rush Limbaugh and all those other crazy people who, like, just spit hate for no reason, just to spit hate. Like, so, yeah, I mean, I think this is an important thing that people should see. If you haven't seen this, I would recommend you see it. Maybe you don't need to see it in the theater, even though it was only $5. Like, that's pretty good. If you have access to it and you haven't seen it, I support you seeing it. And just seeing where things were before RBG and where things are after RBG, and seeing how influential she was in that process. Also, if you need a documentary to just make you feel bad about how you've not done anything in your life, you can watch this one and be in awe of this woman who worked so hard and did so many things. And you yourself haven't. So if you want to go down that road, you can too. So I thought it was great. Like, I can't really stress this enough. I don't think there was an agenda behind it, but just given facts. Like, so I don't know. That's me, Matt.
Well, you know, I think it was pretty interesting, especially the beginning part, and they showed, like, the confirmation hearings, and you get to see good old Joe Biden up there as the chairman of the Judiciary Committee, and you see, you know, Orrin Hatch there, and Ted Kennedy is there. So all these old, like...
Was any of them that you mentioned the creepy old guy who I pointed out to you that I was like, I don't know who that guy is, but he's, like, super old. Like, he was, like, falling apart up there.
My guess is that might have been Senator Patrick Moynihan. Okay. But because he was pretty old when he, towards the end of when he was serving in the Senate. I think he died and is not there anymore. But he kind of looked like them. I didn't get a good look. So some of the good things about this. Seeing, like, the historical, like, film stuff that they put in there, like, they had some home movie stuff in there that was kind of cool, but seeing, like, the news clips, like, the news reports about what was going on that they were describing was pretty cool. And I thought one of the best things that they did was they have all the recordings of Supreme Court cases from however long back, and they wove those into the movie when they were talking about particular cases. They would use the actual recording. So they had, like, from cases in the 70s when RBG was a lawyer arguing in front of the Supreme Court. They had her audio recordings, but also when she was on the Supreme Court, they had questions that she would ask and dissents that she wrote and majorities that she wrote and stuff like that, that were actual recordings from the Supreme Court. So I think you hit it on the head, Todd, when you said there's no real agenda behind this. I mean, if there's any agenda, it's let's celebrate the life of RBG, right? Which, fine, it's a documentary about her. That's fine to do. But they don't pull any punches. I mean, things that she did that were controversial, they're mentioned.
Right.
Things that, and things that people may not agree with, they're mentioned. But you said it also, there's plenty to be in admiration about the life of this woman and what she did and what she accomplished, especially for women's rights in this country, through active litigation in the 1970s to when she became a judge to interpreting the law and eventually interpreting the law in light of the Constitution. There's a lot there, and it's pretty cool. So I'll say I enjoyed the movie. Probably could have been about 15 to 20 minutes shorter.
Sure.
The later stuff was less interesting to me than the earlier stuff. But overall, pretty interesting film. And yeah, I would say if you do documentaries, definitely put this on your list. And if you right now is a good time, since she just passed away, to kind of view, well, what was she all about? And maybe you don't know that. There's plenty of stuff that I didn't know that was present in this film. So it was learning experience for me.
Sure.
And kind of cool to do that as we reflect on her life and time on the Supreme Court and here in America. So I guess that's where I'll leave it for that.
Yeah, it feels so weird to be kind of grading and talking about a documentary.
Yeah.
Well, how many notorious RBGs would you give this documentary from 0 to 5? I guess in the realm of thinking about all the documentaries you've ever seen, where does this rank in that?
Right. And that's hard. I wouldn't say I'm a big documentary watcher, so I'm just going to say how I felt about the movie and kind of leave it at that.
Sure.
And, I mean, there were certainly things that they could have done that would have made it a bad documentary, and I don't think that any of those things were done. Yeah. So I'd say it's a good documentary. It's interesting. So I'm going to give it 3.5 notorious RBGs out of 5.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, I mean, I guess I've seen my fair share of documentaries, and yeah, I mean, I think I'm pretty much with you. 3.5 was in my mind. I mean, it's like, that's not a knock against it. I just think for a documentary to really, really do well in my mind, it just needs to be about a subject that I knew nothing about, period. And it needs to be stylish, and this just wasn't going for style or anything. It just was going for kind of facts. There was a little bit of like flair in the beginning, which I was enjoying, and then that kind of seemed to go away, and then it became like kind of facts and stuff like that. So, I mean, that's not truly a knock against it. I think it's just my preference. So I think 3.5 is where I'm at. I still highly recommend, I mean, not that that's a low rating, but I highly recommend that if you've never seen it, you should see it. And if you have strong feelings about her one way or the other, and you haven't seen this, I think you should see it. Like, that's, what's more to say about it than that?
Yeah. Cool.
So.
Well, it is streaming somewhere. I know a friend just told me that he watched it recently, so check your Netflix or your Amazon Prime and see if you can find it if you want to watch it in the comfort of your own home. I think that is available. So that's going to wrap it up for this episode of Matt and Todd Go to the Movies, where we reviewed from the theater parking lot RBG, the 2018 documentary about the life of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And we gave it an average rating In fact, we matched 3.5 notorious RBGs out of 5, which is a good rating.
Oh, man.
So, thank you for listening. Please continue to do so. You can interact with us on our Facebook page, and you can find this podcast everywhere.
Da 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 da.
Da-da.
Oh, wait. I think that this movie specifically, if you have an opinion about it, I think you should share it with us because, I guess the importance of this is pretty important. Like, not your run of the mill, who cares movie, throw away. So I would love if a dialogue got started, a healthy dialogue got started on our Facebook page. I think it would be cool. So for the 15 to 20 people who are going to listen to this, if you've got an opinion, let us know. I would love to know it.
And our Facebook page is, if you search for Matt and Todd Go to the Movies, you'll find us.
Yeah,
Because that's what it's called.
So,
all right.
Okay.
Thanks for interjecting that, Todd. And now let's continue with our outro music.
da 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 da
Da-da,
da da da.
da-da-da.